All right, let's talk about where we're at, what we've been doing, what you need to do. You may have noticed some of my pencil marks in here. Don't freak out. I haven't laid the reinforcing floor on here yet, so it's a good time. I should have mentioned that to you before. You probably already glued yours in and you're screwed now. You just got to be careful. One of the things you can do is just lay some blue tape on there if you want to draw and kind of do some outlines and stuff. But you know that I was struggling with where to mount my radio box and so on, and I picked up this box I found on Amazon. I know, look, I got your messages, okay, and I appreciate it. I have used an exposed receiver before, and I've used the sprays on it and all that. First of all, I hate spraying stuff just generally inside the boat. It gets oily enough in here. Why do I want to shoot Corrosion X all over the place, right? And plus, I don't like paying $27 for a little tiny can of spray. It's a ripoff for WD-40, but you guys do what you want to do. I don't have the courage anymore, so I'm putting the receiver in a box. I've been doing this for a little while, but I think I showed you the boxes I've been using. It was a little round like a Tupperware thing. It was too big. This thing is kind of cool. It was billed as a waterproof box, and it had no waterproof way to run the wires out. It's just an opening, and I'm like, well, that is stupid. The lid fits on there nice, couple screws, got a nice seal. This will work. I know it's girly, at least it seems like a girly thing. You always see gals using hot glue for crafts and stuff. I used some hot glue on here. I've been doing that even on those other boxes I was using to run the wires out. And so I just run a bunch of extensions onto the receiver. It's very simple. 2 screws pull this out. Receiver comes out with the lid and all the wires on it. Boink, boink, boink. 3 wires, 3 new wires. Slap it back down in and away you go. So this will work. Mounts with just a couple screws. Those holes were already there. Had a little raised section on it, which I didn't understand, but I sanded that off real quick. It must have a specific purpose for some specific thing. Glued a couple lock nuts in there, right? Aluminum lock nuts. Yeah. I'm saving so much weight. And made my holes. This guy's going to sit right here. Okay. I made a hole for a switch. I did receive your messages about not using a switch. I have done that in the past. Maybe I will do that here. In fact, probably. I added a switch on the last boat I did this with that I was using just a straight connection, and I don't remember why. There was some reason why I felt I needed to add a switch, so I did. I think I probably won't. This will work out really nice. The battery will drop in here really beautifully. Of course, the other servo goes here, and you can plug and play. Servo extensions for throttle and steering, and all that wiring will tuck back behind here and won't be visible. It'll be really cute. What's this? This is where my throttle servo mounts. Yeah, that's all I use. That's all you need. Works great. I'm not making these holes and a mount yet because I'm not 100% sure on its location. I kind of fit things up. I think this is about right. So this guy will sit here. This one will sit here. Plenty of room. The motor, I believe, will wind up about 1/4 inch forward from where I had run it in the previous eliminator that I built. This arrangement does indeed give me the capability to run the deck up a little ways here, about 2 inches from the bull nose, instead of having the cowling coming all the way down to here. I like getting it up off the water line a little bit. You're going to get some splash and stuff here. You know, when the guy tosses your boat and he throws it straight down and it washes it out. Well, I'm trying to avoid that. Not naming any names. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have 2 inches of deck here. This is going to work. This is going to work. You can get one of these if you want. It's on Amazon. I searched waterproof RC box. I'll put a link, okay? I'll put a link in the description. Here's how you get to those links. People have been asking me, where's the links? I don't see anything. The description that YouTube will put is really, really short, and then there'll be a little tiny word that says more. Click that and it'll expand. Sometimes it expands only a little ways, and there's another little tiny more, and you click that and then you'll get the whole thing, because we talk about other stuff there, and I put links to things that I think are useful and my other videos. If I reference them, I'll put links there, and I put links to cool parts and pieces that you will need. Click them, use them, and while you're there, click like and subscribe. I forget to ask you that. The earlier in the video you click like, now you're assuming you're going to like the video, right? The earlier you click it, YouTube algorithms like that, and they'll share it more, and more people will see this stuff and build boats. It's no fun to run boats by yourself. Fuel tanks, you saw me messing with this little thing here. Isn't that awesome? Complete waste of time. You know, I mean, did I really save weight? You know, you go over to the little saw and you cut that out, you sand it. Anyway, there it is. Oh, what's it do? This is a wall that will drop in right here. Okay, it's going to serve dual purpose. The reason it has reinforcement, well, reinforcement. This is a stop for foam, okay? I'm going to tell you why. Don't get ahead of me. Okay, so dual purpose. Number one, it sits there. Small box, small tank, sump tank. We'll go in here. We'll drop in there at an angle. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the big one. Okay, there's my wall, right? You'll see this opening that we've created here. I'll give you dimensions on this in a second. If you're following along, you're going to do this exact thing. I'll give you that in just a second here. This you will install from the rear. Of course, there'll be a deck here. It'll push up against that. You just make yourself a cute little yellow chair. It's got to be yellow. Eliminator's yellow. Or purple. No, the boat's not purple, but what the heck? Yellow and purple go together. Okay, you're going to put this in here. Now, remember, since we're shoving this thing in through the back here, these tubes that you're going to make, and we'll make them together, and I'll give you the links and everything that I do, all right? So hang with me. They got to be pretty short, because otherwise you're going to be able to cram it through, right? So you can't do big fancy tubes sticking out of the stopper there. So you're going to kind of put it in like this. This works. I've done it before, okay? And it'll turn, and she'll pop into place like that. You see how this little nubbin pops in? Just slick as heck. Why does all of this matter? Let's see. Well, let's back up. After you've popped this in, you're then going to shove another piece of pool noodle in here, yellow or purple, and it'll push from here to here, okay? And so the tank is kind of held between these two pieces of foam. Why is it where it is? This is the thing. Make sure you're checking this on yours. Don't just get carried away and put it wherever you want. There's a deck that goes on here, right? You got to make sure that you're not installing it such that it's so that it's pushing up against the deck. If it does, if you've got pressure on the deck, that deck's going to bulge, it's going to crack, it just will, man. So you're going to do kind of a little balancing act once you're assembling it with how wide this piece of foam needs to be as opposed to this one, and kind of get it in place. But that's why this one has to be here. You could think, well, I'm just going to let it just shove in here and push up against the deck and put my foam back here. No, it will build that deck up, and you will regret what you have done. Don't ask me how I know, or ask me how I know, I'll tell you. I don't care. All right, let's go back to this one. This is pretty simple, right? Okay, nothing to it. If you have questions, hit me up in the comments down below, or just say hi. It's all good. I do appreciate you guys. Like I said, I listen to you. I think about it. I ponder it. I adapted your no switch idea. Again, I've done that before, but I got away from it. Don't know why. All right, let's talk about this one. Here's the acting theory. You can see we had to cut a hole all the way through here, and that sucks, right? I mean, who wants to do that? Oh, this doesn't really need to be here for this part of the explanation. But bear with me. Here's the plan. This I have not done yet because since we changed the deck height here and we have this floor ramping up, I don't have the room here that I've had. I've used this same basic idea on two other boats. Two other nitro boats. This one, we've altered it, and I didn't have the room that I wanted, first of all, to get the tank as far up as I wanted. I know you're yelling at the screen. I could do it this way. Sure, I could. And it'd go up pretty far, but how are you going to... No, I'm not going to make big, long tubes that stick out here. And you got to be able to access them, okay? Do it the way I'm showing you, so you'll be able to change the lines really, really easily. at any time. You know how it is, you get to the race course and halfway through the day, the boat's leaning out like crazy, and you pull the needle and you blow the needle out and it's fine, and you check your pressure line and it's fine. What do? Change all the hoses. And by golly, it'll run. If it doesn't, then you got a split tank, and now you're thrashing. That's why you bring spares. Okay, so where was I? This guy's going to go in here. It's going to have a wall right here. I believe I'm going to put pour foam in here. We'll figure that out later. Maybe it'll be a piece of pool noodle you'll shove up in there, okay? Just to keep it from popping out of place. But I don't think it will, and here's why. Maybe I'll even do something with a top on it like that. Anyway, my expectation, my hope, my prayer is that I'll be able to cover this hole just with flat material. And I don't really know right now, because when I try to hold it, everything kind of moves. But I believe, from theory and measuring and just hoping for the best, that this guy, again, there'll be that wall here, so it won't be banging around quite as much as it's doing now. That I'll be able to push against this just a little bit. It's probably going to flex slightly, and that guy will pop down into place there. What are we popping into? Hold on. After we made this hole here, we cut this part out. And you can do that just with these flat blades. These are fabulous. I think speaking of links, I think there's a link. If you click more and click more again and scroll down, and you can just dig this stuff right out. Obviously, you don't want to punch through the floor, so be careful. But I dug it out with this. Nothing to it. You grind it out if you want to. I don't care. If you want to make a mess, who am I? Okay, so I believe that this is going to push and pop into place. It'll sit at this really pretty angle. We talked about that earlier if you weren't here for that. I want this at a sharp angle because I want to be able to pick up the fuel all the way up. Well, it's going to be at this corner, back corner, because it's going to be a slight angle this way, and it's going to be at a pretty big angle this way. Ooh, boy, we'll be able to run this thing on fumes. I have pulled in off the water after getting penalties and being an idiot with just a little tiny bit of fuel left, other tank dry. So it can be done. This will be fantastic. I think that's going to work. Measurements. This guy, you just got to figure it out on your own. I don't remember the exact numbers, but you know where it needs to be. Measure the height, measure the distance, build it. Make it look really cool, because nobody will ever see it except you. You'll sleep good. Where were we? Measurements. Let's get this out of the way. This is going to be where it has to be, right? This comes in straight. You want it up. By the way, let's go ahead and talk about that. Obviously, we made an effort here to get this down as far as possible. We made this hole as high as possible so that there'd be as much lip here as there could be, okay? Oh, where's it located? I think we talked about it before, but let's do it right now anyway. Right in line with where the step used to be, okay? Okay, you built a new piece, you don't know where that step was. Looks like about 5 5/8 inch forward of this piece here. Okay? What was I talking about? Oh, that's where it is, in fore and aft position. Size of the opening is what it is to make this fit. I actually took a piece of scrap material and carved at it for a while until this fit through it really nice, and then I used that as my template, laid it on here and drew it and cut it out, so I could have a little bit more confidence and didn't have to just creep away at it. This hole comes, let's talk about it again. This one's high, so I got a big lip so it catches. I want the back as high as possible. So this hole, you're making all the way up against this material here, all the way up against this 1/8 inch strip that we're going to glue our deck to. Okay, so in other words, we're making this hole as high as we can back here so that we get this angled fit that we're shooting for. I don't know if that's in the screen. Where are you guys at? Somebody wave. Okay, so that's where that one is. This guy, First of all, it's very largely determined by the position of your deck, okay? So lay it on there, push this guy forward until it starts to hit. And that's how you determine exactly where it's going to be, right? But if you built this thing the way I did, or even if you're just only close, you should wind up somewhere in this neighborhood. I made this hole 2 by 1.5. All right. This slot just is what it needs to be to get it to land where I want it. But the whole arrangement sits using this as our measurement guide. You can see that about 1 3/4. This thing starts about 2 3/8, and so of course then it ends at about 4 3/8. Can you see that? That's where you're going with that. Height is determined on, of course, where it needs to be for this. Oh, maybe you'll notice. This is why, see, I usually use 1/8 inch down here, but I did this for you thinking we were going to use the stuff they give you in the kit. Whoo, boy, next time this is going to be 3/8. Or somebody sent me a message on how to make my own 3/16 triangled sticks. I'm going to do it. But for now, if you used this like I did, I don't know if you can tell, I had to carve this out a little bit here. I just used a round sanding drum on the Dremel tool and buzzed that out. Why? Because this edge here would hit it. And once this pushes forward to get into our nubbin slot here, and so it was lifting it up. And that would have pushed it up against the deck again. So I had to cut this out a little bit so this would sit down all the way. And you know what? I don't care. Again, this material isn't really doing much of anything. It holds glue. It gives you a little bit wider footprint where the floor is attached, so when the floor does flex, because it will, you know, you can imagine if you had a super duper narrow support, the floor would flex around that very easily. It will. This will take a beating hitting the water at 65 miles an hour, and it'll tend to crack. So it is nice to have kind of a wide footprint here for the floor to attach to and be supported by. But this part back here, it doesn't do anything. It's just in the way, obviously, so that's why I carved it out. Okay, that's what you're gonna do now. Make these holes. You'll appreciate this, you know, taking this time now. I don't know if you've done this. I tend to put a boat together and then you stand there and scratch your head and go, well, where in the heck am I gonna put the fuel tanks? Nope, we're taking the time right now. Get your radio gear to fit, make your fuel tanks fit just the way I showed you. If yours works out nicely the way mine has, I believe it has, I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna glue a piece on the back here. I think I'm gonna use a piece of G10. Are you familiar with G10? We'll talk about that in the next video. I think I'm gonna use a piece of G10 on here because I can push on it. It's actually like a fiberglass, pre-made fiberglass, really, really strong but flexible. I'm going to glue it on here and I'll be able to push on it when I shove that in. I'm hoping that there's a little bit of tension there. And then when I'm flexing that thing over and over, I won't be cracking it like I might with a piece of wood, right? Okay, go do that. And it really, I'm not kidding now. Once we get done with just figuring this stuff out, it'll go together quick. Okay, like, subscribe, say hi. Share the video. See you later. Go build a boat. Awesome. We're going to make it. Season's coming. Hey, you try doing it one hand while you're looking into a camera. Don't bust it out too far. Don't want to rip that wood away. It looks like it could go higher, but it can't. See this pencil line? Actually, it could, and I may work my way there. This pencil line is where we will have some of that 3/16 material attached. Just haven't done it yet because we're working. Okay, so I'm going to finish cutting this hole out. I'll work it up towards the top a little bit more here. Again, the reasons will make sense eventually. Oh, that's nice. And then I'll come back to you. Okay? All right, I got to get back to work. Leave me alone. I'm trying to work here.